yourself touched on it, preempted my question. I don't know if you can see my sheet from there, but Jordan Jones has left to Sunderland, Steve. I mean, I thought Jordan Jones was going to do a job, but you disappointed the way it's turned out for him?
I am, actually, to be fair. And they did, at times when he came on, he showed glimpses, but there's just maybe a couple of things off the field, and he's just had that opportunity to get and embed himself in properly and get like 3 or 4 games to actually cement his place in the team. So I think it's just the way it's worked out. But to be fair to him, it's a good move down to Sunderland. It's a decent loan, and I think if he can go down there and do well, then there's no need to say he won't come back up here and get back in the squad and maybe try and push to get another team again. So that's fair play to him, and if he's going down there, it's just maybe not worked out this time for him, and that's what it is, isn't it, really? Hopefully he can go on. Yeah. He's got the Euros. He's obviously got to get back to Northern Ireland and stuff like that as well. So
that's the point I was going to take to Greg. He needs to play. He's got the Northern Ireland squad to get into. Do you think that's a key reason why he's left, or do you think his time's kind of up with Gerrard and his behaviour over the last 6 or 7 months?
I think it's a bit of both. I think because as we're saying there, he's definitely got the potential. When he's come on for Rangers, there is glimpses with his pace and his ability and stuff. There's no doubt about it that he can be a talented footballer. But yeah, I just think with the kind of off-field issues, there just seems to be that side within him. Like maybe, I don't know if you can kind of made it out, but it just boils down to the individual mistakes. You know what I mean? There's no much. You can only advise as coaches and stuff in your own personal life, but at the end of the day, you've got to be the one you go, right, this is right and this is wrong. So I think in that aspect, it's Gerrard's probably kind of thinking, well, what else more can I do? But he's got the potential, so we'll see if he can mature a wee bit more at Sunderland, and then if he can come back into the squad and do a job for us, that would be good.
If you come to a new club, you need to rip the jersey off someone. You know, you need to out-train them, you need to outplay them, you need to have a better attitude. You need to pick a guy almost in the squad and go, you know what? I'm going to get your place in that. And Jordan Jones, for me, just hasn't done that. Regardless of he's off the field stuff, he's not done that for me. Now, Wilfie, you're disappointed. Did you see him doing a turn for us?
I did when we initially signed him, but I think it's all spiraled downhill since that ridiculous red card in the Old Firm game at Ibrox. Yeah. You know, I mean that ludicrous challenge that he didn't need to make when the game was done. And he's never really come back from that. But I mean, thinking about where he's going, I'm not sure Sunderland's the right place for him to go to, because I think he's got a lot of kind of friends and family in that neck of the woods, because he spent a lot of his downtime, you know, down in Sunderland, I believe, when he wasn't playing and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm not quite sure, given his off-field antics, whether going somewhere like that's the right move for him. He obviously thinks it is, but it might just be that he's going somewhere he feels comfortable. And it could be the making of him, I don't know. Because
it can either go 2 ways, can't it, Wilf? We all know, and especially us from the west of Scotland, that sometimes that it's just all becomes too comfortable for you and your pals are too handy, and it's ruined many a career. So I hope that Jordan Jones goes and you know, and he does have a good career, because you don't want to see anyone failing at football, you know, and he is a good player, and League One's obviously a massive step back from Rangers, but hopefully Sunderland give him the platform to go and kick on. So is it, just on that, Steve, is there anyone else that you think we should maybe be trying to get, don't want to say get out the door, that's harsh, but anyone else that we should be trying to move on for the sake of their own careers rather than Rangers' squad?
I mean, I suppose there's also Edmondson in there. There was maybe tied in with Jones a wee bit, but he's another one. I don't think he's going to get much game time in the next sort of 6 months as well. And, no. I think he's potential when he could go and get loan and get some game time for us. It's also, it'll be a big ask looking at who we've got in defence. I think it'll be a big ask for him to actually come back and push into that to one of the 2 centre back positions now. But that'd be one maybe to look out to get him at the door for a wee bit. But except for that, I can't really see us pushing the ball out to get people out, or unless a bid comes in for somebody. But I think it's going to be pretty much status quo going forward for the next few months.
What about you, Greg Stewart, or that? Do you think you should be looking to move them on the next day or so?
I think so. Again, I was pretty gutted for Greg Stewart again, because I watched what he was kind of Aberdeen and Dundee and stuff. And again, another player with potential, but what you were saying earlier on, Derek, like with the kind of attitude and picking somebody in the squad to go and be better, and again, he's just not really lived up to that standard. So I think if he goes out and loan, I don't think he's good enough at the moment, the players we've got. So I think if he was to go out, it would maybe try and kind of sell him. Brandon Barker as well, another player who I thought had potential and he showed glimpses, but I think they might, if somebody comes in for him, then they could be looking to get him out the door as well. I think
Talking about levels here, I think we've signed Greg Stewart and we've signed Brandon Barker, and these guys have came in at a certain time, even Jordan Jones. Do you think the levels are now lifted? Champions League football coming up. Do you think we should be kind of shopping in a better market without being too harsh?
Yeah, without question. I mean, it looks like we're looking at a kind of higher level of player. Brandon Barker's a funny one because the manager seems to fancy him. I mean, he's brought him in out the cold a couple of times in big games, and he's come in and he's never let us down.
No,
so true. That's quite a stage with. But I agree with Greg. I'd be looking to move him on before the window closes, just for the sake of the guy's own career, get some game time. I mean, it must be great for them to say that they're Rangers players, but they're not playing games at all. It's not as if there's B team games that they can be played because in the current situation nothing's happening out with the first team, so they're not getting any games at all anywhere. So they really, for the sake of their own career, need to be playing. But apart from the guys we've mentioned, I don't think we'd be looking to move anybody else out. But because we're certainly, as you said, Eric, we're certainly up to standard from when they came in. You know, just look at the bench now from this time last year. It's an awful lot stronger now than it was even in the summer, which tells you that we're moving it on. I mean, we should only be looking to bring in players that are going to look to fight for the places of the guys that are in the team, and then the guys that are in the team are going to be going on the bench. So the guys on the bench are going to be surplus to requirements, so they're going to have to move on because the standard's going up and up and up all the time, and it has to. Otherwise, we'll end up going backwards because we're standing still.
That's it. And there's better players than these being replaced before. When you think that, when Brian Laudrup left Rangers, you still went on and you won the title, not 10 in a row, but the next one, and we replaced them. Life goes on, and the standards keep getting lifted. Now, just to finish the transfer segment, Steve, do you see any big bids coming in from any of our players over the next couple of days?
To be honest, no, I don't really see it. I don't think it'd be welcomed either for anybody. I think Gerrard was on record as saying that nobody's really going out this window, that he's not wanting to go out, to be honest. So, but I can't see anyone coming in for anyone, to be honest. It's no the transfer window this month doesn't seem to be on fire as much either, really. There's not much movement going, so
no,
it's just with things going on at the minute. So, I don't think there'll be much change, to be honest, before the end of the next day or so.
Fingers crossed you're right. Fingers crossed. Greg, do you see any curveballs, anyone leaving that we hopefully don't want to? Sorry.
No, I don't think so. I think, as Steve was saying there, I think with the current situation and stuff as well, I just don't think a lot of teams have got the funds to be kind of spending. So it's just kind of, it's bizarre, isn't it? It's really, exactly, I remember it doesn't feel like a transfer window at all, just with the current situation. But no, it would take something extra special. But I think everybody who's here will be here and stuff. But the summer can be more interesting. But we'll come to that when it comes. Aye.
Yeah.